Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to Macabre'Gorium Labs presents a showcase of things likely forgotten, Cartoon Network-esque edition. My name is Bats and I hope you'll join me today as we take a look at a long, should-have-been forgotten classic with Yo Yogi. Definitely not your average bear.
Yo, Yogi, yo! From Jellystone Park to Jellystone Mall. Yo, Yogi, yo! Yogi's having a ball.
Originally created by Hanna-Barbera, the Yogi Bear character first made his debut on the Huckleberry Hound show in 1958. Yogi quickly became more popular and was given his own show in 1961. However, for today's showcase, we're not going to cover the original Yogi Bear show. You're not that lucky. Instead, we're going to cover Yo Yogi. This show would come out about the same time that everything that came out was super extreme, and before the live-action era where they everything. First, it is important to note that Yo Yogi is a non-canon cartoon series, and the sixth incarnation of Yogi Bear. However, it does feature many of the other Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters as well, although pint-sized. Yo Yogi was created by the executive producers William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, and produced by Kaz Anzalotti. This incarnation of Yogi was directed by Don Lusk, Carl Urbano, Jay Sarby, Joanna Ramersa, and Paul Summer, with the theme song being composed by Joseph Carryle.
Yo, 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 Yogi, yo, 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 Yogi!
Premiering on NBC on September 14th, 1991, the show would run through December 7th, 1991, every Saturday morning. There was only one season with 13 episodes. Although the episodes would be 30 minutes long, several of them did contain multiple sections. And by multiple I mean two, but now let's talk about the amazing voice talents that brought this less than mediocre show to life. As stated before, Yo Yogi was filled with familiar Hanna-Barbera characters and would be voiced by some more than amazing voiceover artists, such as Greg Burson, who would voice Yogi Bear, Officer Smith, Peter Potamus, Quick Draw McGraw, Mr. Jinx, Uncle Undercover, and Snagglepuss. The amazing Don Messick would provide his talents for Boo Boo Bear, Adam Ant, Pixie, Squidly Diddly, and Muttley. The wonderful Kath Soucie would voice Cindy Bear and Secret Squirrel. And John Stephenson would voice Doggy Daddy and the Jail Warden. Next on the list, we have Patrick Zimmerman bringing the voice for Augie Doggy, Dixie, and Ding-a-Long Wolf. Gail Mathis would voice Roxy Bear. Alan Melvin would voice Magilla Gorilla. Neil Ross would voice Baba Louie. Matt Hurwitz would voice Hokey Wolf. And Mitzi McCall would voice Tallulah Latrine. There are a couple of characters, such as Loopy De Loop and Lippy the Lion, that don't actually have their voice actors mentioned. Sorry about that. This show also had a fair amount of guest stars as well, such as Wee Willie Gorilla, Super Snooper, and Hardy Har Har, all voiced by the amazing Rob Paulson. Hal Smith would bring voice to Blabber Mouse, Bernard Erhard would voice Pest, Frank Welker would voice Howie Cheatham, Howard Morris would voice Murray, and Max the Mole would be voiced by Lenny Weinrib. It is important to note that the characters have different voice actors than the originals. The reason for this is that some of the voice actors were teenagers, and unfortunately the iconic and always amazing Mel Blanc, Dawes Butler, and Paul Frees had all passed away prior to the show. Now that we know the characters, let's take a look at what this show was actually about. First of all, Yo Yogi takes place in Jellystone Town instead of Jellystone Park, and Yogi Bear and his team are teenage crime fighters. Yes, that's right. As we're fans of saying, I'd say you can't make this up, but clearly somebody did. So the Jellystone Mall is owned by Diamond Doggy Daddy, with Augie Doggy, his son, learning the ropes to take over one day. There's a picnic basket food court run by Loopy De Loop. And of course, this is Yogi's favorite place because, well, picnic baskets, little on the button. Peter Potamus Plant Palace, a plant store run by Peter Potamus and So-So. Crooks and Books, a bookstore run by Blabbermouth. Mops and Tops, a wig and hat store run by Mo and Joe Wendell. The Invention Dimension, a computer store run by Uncle Undercover. This is Secret Squirrel's uncle. Aunt Annie's Antique Antiquarium, which of course is an antique store ran by Aunt Annie. And the iMoviePlex, of course the movie theater in the mall. There are a couple of settings that aren't in the mall that appear in the show, such as First Jellystone Bank, Jellystone Prison, and Jellystone Clock Tower.
I think you left something out, Bats.
You are absolutely correct, Goat. I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about the LAF. The LAF is the Lost and Found in the Mall, and Yogi Bear and his team work there under the direction of Security Guard Officer Smith. Under Officer Smith's supervision, the team work like detectives to solve various mysteries. Along with Yogi, the team consists of Boo Boo Bear, Huckleberry Hound, Snagglepuss, and Cindy Bear. Among other antagonists, Yogi and the gang would often have to deal with the problems caused by the teenage Dickie Dastardly with his pup, Muttley. This show would also feature Secret Squirrel, Hardy Har Har, and Squidly Diddly as part of the teenage characters. However, they did need to leave some of the characters as adults, such as Adamant, Loopy de Loop, Hokey Wolf, Quick Draw McGraw, Baba Louie, Pixie and Dixie, Lippy the Lion, Dingaling Wolf, Snooper, Magilla Gorilla, and Peter Potamus. As previously mentioned, again, most of the adults in this show run the stores in the mall. But there are a few adults that don't work in the mall, such as Hokey Wolf, who is the mayor of Jellystone Town. Magilla Gorilla eventually shows up as the teen idol with the name of Magilla Ice.
Sorry, you heard it.
You remember, you heard that here. And Snooper, a crime-solving celebrity in Jellystone Town. Yo Yogi also featured episodes or parts of them in 3D. Kellogg's was offering a pair of 3D glasses if you purchased a box of Rice Krispies cereal, which has to be one of the weirdest TV cereal tie-ins I've heard about, especially for a show that failed as hard as this one. Yogi would give his special cue by spinning his hat on top of his head so you would know when to put on your 3D glasses. So now that we explored the characters a little bit, let's take a look at the actual episodes of this show. Episode 1, Yo Yogi. In the opening episode, there is an invisible thief stealing things in Jellystone Town. Yogi and the crew see floating picnic tables and various other things being carried by the thief. Bombastic Bobby is trying to have the mall closed down so his bargain barn store will succeed. Yogi and the crew end up eventually stopping him, which leads to them being hired at the Lost and Found Agency, or the LAF. Episode 2, Huck's Doggone Day and Grindhog Day. Huck's Doggone Day. Criminals Lou and Murray buried their loot in Jellystone Town 50 years ago, and now they have escaped Jellystone Prison and want their money back. However, the place they buried it is where the Jellystone Mall is now built. There just happens to be an elm tree in the exact spot with Huckleberry Hound lounging around underneath it. After trying several times to get rid of him, they force him to dig a hole to get their loot, but instead he digs a hole back to their prison cell. Grindhog Day. There are two grindhogs that are eating the mall's profit literally, but Cindy Bear won't let anyone get rid of them as they are an endangered species. While Yogi, Cindy, and Snagglepuss are taking the grindhogs to their pickleberry patch habitat in Jellystone Park, they find Max the Mole trying to break into the First Jellystone Bank. Max escapes with a truck of money that, unbeknownst to him, has the grindhogs in it. The grindhogs eat the money bags and the truck itself, and Max ends up in jail. Episode 3, Jellystone Jam. Doggy Daddy is holding a contest at the mall to win a chance to spend the day with the Magilla to spend the day with Magilla Ice after his concert. Roxy rigs the contest to win, but Cindy ends up winning instead. So what is Roxy to do? Well, team up with Dickie, Dastardly, and Muttley to stop Cindy. However, the whole gang ends up meeting him after stopping Roxy's plan. Episode 4, Mall Alone. This one features Snagglepuss, who is locked in the mall after hours after falling asleep during a movie. Yogi, Boo Boo, Huckleberry, and Cindy try to get into the mall to save him. Of course, we soon meet the thieves Homerfly and Popfly, who are attempting to steal the Rusty Diamond baseball card. In order to stop the bad guys, Snagglepuss has to overcome his huge fear of the dark. Episode 5, Tricky Dickie's Dirty Trickies. Dickie Dastardly has a scheme to become the leader of the LAF squad by getting Yogi thrown out. Dickie is successful, at first, as he frames Yogi as a wallet thief. The truth is eventually uncovered, thwarting all of Dickie's plans, as Yogi is once again reinstated to the LAF. The B story to this episode is that Mr. Slump and his assistant Leroy hatch a plot to kidnap Augie Doggy for ransom. Episode 6, Super Duper Snag. In this episode, we are introduced to Adam Ant. He is trying to stop the Pest. The Pest is a giant cockroach that plans to rule the world. The hijinks begin with Adam Ant losing his atomic helmet and Snagglepuss finding it and thinking it was a pinky ring. But by putting it on, Snagglepuss becomes a superhero. Eventually, Adam Ant asks the LAF to help him find the atomic helmet before the world is taken over by the Pest. Episode 7, Mellow Fellow, and Hats Off to Yogi. Mellow Fellow. This episode centers on Huckleberry Hound as he helps Wee Willie Gorilla's parents find him. Dickie, Dastardly, and Muttley also try to find him so they themselves can collect the reward money. Hats Off to Yogi. In this one, the people that are in Jellystone Mall are freaking out as their heads are getting shaved by an unknown clipper. Yogi and Boo Boo end up solving the mystery and finding out that Mo and Joe Wendell are at fault. They own a wig store and figured if people had no hair, they would have no choice but to shop at Mop and Tops. Episode 8, Polly Want a Safecracker. Here we are introduced to the bird brain of Alcatraz, a safe-cracking parrot. Yogi, Boo Boo, and Secret Squirrel are able to stop him by tricking him into the town bell where he gets a good clanging. Episode 9, Mall or Nothing, and There's No Business Like Snow Business. Mall or Nothing. Doggy Daddy, away at a convention for mall owners, Howie Cheatham manages to trick Augie Doggy into signing the mall over to him. At this point, Augie has no choice but to enlist the help of the LAF. There's no business like snow business. At the mall's What's a Matterhorn, there is an abominable snow dude and he's harassing the skiers. So it's the LAF to the rescue. The crew discovers there isn't really an abominable snow dude. It turns out to just be a robot that surfers Dap and Schnapper built. Episode 10, It's All Relative and Barely Working. It's all relative. This episode has a simple story. Yogi's Uncle Bruno visits at the same time as the mad painter starts illegally painting all over the mall stores and buildings. Barely working. The criminals in this episode are Grant and Ralph Larceny. Yogi is working on apprehending them. This is more difficult as Yogi is also working at various second jobs to make more money than he earns at the LAF. Episode 11, Yippee Yo Yogi, and Of Mises and Men. Yippee Yo Yogi. It's cowboy time in this episode. Quick Draw McGraw and Baba Louie are putting on a Wild West show at the mall. Up to his usual tricks, Dickie Dastardly lets Quick Draw's pet bull Bully out of his pen and into the mall. Then it's up to the LAF to find Bully and calm him down before the show starts. Of Mises and Men. The setting for this episode is Mr. Jinks' Cheese Cottage Shop. Mr. Jinks is sick and tired of Pixie and Dixie stealing all of his cheese. Dickie Dastardly points out to Mr. Jinks that he can bully them out. Then it's Yogi to the rescue, and he shows Mr. Jinks that being a bully isn't cool and he needs to find a compromise with the mice. Episode 12, Fashion Smashin', and To Tell the Truth, forsooth, Fashion Smashin'. We get introduced to Calvin Clunk and Tallulah Latrend, who are both fashion designers in Jellystone Town. Calvin is in the process of showing his new line of clothes. However, Tallulah hatches a plot to steal the centerpiece of Calvin's collection. During this, Roxy is helping Cindy with her fashion designs, and this is important as when Tallulah steals the design, she ends up mixing it with some of Roxy's outfit. To tell the truth, forsooth. Snagglepuss loses the bust of William Shakespeare that he's attempting to return to Aunt Annie's antique store when he's at a movie. He panics and devises a story where Dickie Dastardly robbed him for the statue. Evidence is planted with a boot, and when Yogi and Boo Boo come to check it out, he devises a plan to have Dickie try on the boot. Of course, the plan works, and Dickie fits the boot, but the only thing Dickie has done wrong is trying to charge 99 cents for an elevator ride. The truth comes out with Snagglepuss learning his lesson, and the bust was found and returned to the antique store. And finally, Episode 13, The Big Snoop. Jellystone Mall is hosting a book signing and mystery contest with the Super Snoopers at the Crooks and Books bookstore. Super Snooper's PR agent, PR Flack, accompanies him for those events. Of course, the LAF crew are excited about this and begin to search for clues. Dickie Dastardly and Muttley try to stop the gang from winning, but end up kidnapped with Super Snooper. Yogi and the gang find them and also find the kidnappers with PR Flack the whole time. Even though this show was only one season and not that popular, they did try to do the most with the characters they had. As time went on and we reached 1992, TV had changed, with shows like Saved by the Bell becoming extremely popular in its Saturday morning spot. With this shift in viewers and genres, NBC ultimately decided to cancel its entire Saturday morning block of cartoons. This would go on to replace all of the cartoons with live-action shows to appeal to teenagers. So sadly, on March 6, 1992, Yo Yogi would be cancelled along with many other cartoons. But that wouldn't be the end, because Yo Yogi would find itself in syndication as part of the fantastic world of Hanna-Barbera in the 1990s, although we were unable to find the exact date the Yo Yogi show aired. Yo Yogi would come back once again, finding a place on Boomerang in October of 2023. As of 2025, you can find all kinds of Yogi Bear merchandise. eBay has bendable figures, McDonald's Happy Meal toys, and the original 3D glasses. There's also a $400 Yo Yogi 1992 Tiger electronic game. As I've mentioned before, there were Tiger handheld games for literally everything. And best of all, there's an original factory-sealed 1991 VHS tape that includes 3D glasses that you can find for around $20. There's also a plethora of other merch if you just want to look for it. In my opinion, this was one of those shows where it's just old people not quite getting the new generation and trying to make something that would appeal to, well, kids. But they're not kids. They just didn't quite hit the mark with this one. I can see where the show had massive potential and could have been awesome, but it just fell short because of so many common Hanna-Barbera tropes. But now you know what I think. I've just gotta ask. Were you a fan of Yo Yogi? If so, what was your favorite character, plot point, or episode? If not, what was your favorite childhood snack, toy, show, movie, or other memory? Did we forget anything, get something wrong, or leave something out? Do you have a suggestion for a future video, or maybe you just want to drop in and say hi? Either way, feel free to head on down to the comments section because, as usual, we look forward to hearing from you. And unfortunately with that, we've come to the end of another Macabre'Gorium Labs showcase of things likely forgotten Cartoon Network edition video. I've been your host, Bats, and I hope you had a good time today as we took a look at today's topic, Yo Yogi. Definitely not your average bear. Anyway, check back next time because you never know what we have in store. And as usual, think for yourselves, be excellent to each other, and of course, keep it creepy. Hey, thanks for checking out our video. If you enjoyed this one and would like to see more of our weird, creepy, odd, eccentric, or strange content as soon as it comes out, please feel free to click like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more. We'll see you later. Keep it creepy.